Coach, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
We're ready to go. Go ahead with the questions.
Hey, Coach, now that the celebration is over and you're ready for Cleveland, in the interim, did you hear from Coach McVay, and did he give you any kind of insight, encouragement as to how to proceed?
No, just checking in. I think a lot of guys have followed us and seen how we've done over the years, and certainly guys I work with and have great relationships with have talked. On both sides. A lot of those guys have clinched berths too, and Matt's clinched the division up there in the number one seed at Green Bay, and so it's good to be close to some people in the league who have also done some great stuff, and we always talk about those types of things.
Zach,
Joe said that he's probably not expecting to play on Sunday. What's leading to that decision? How many starters do you expect to be on the field against the Browns?
I can't make a prediction on the amount of starters, but for Joe, I can certainly say for Joe that we'll rest him this week and make sure that he's 100% ready to go. I know he's felt good and could play if needed, but I just made the decision that we're going to rest him this week.
What went into specifics, Zach, as much as you can share?
I think just having him fully ready to go. You never know what can happen in these games. And so just taking that off the plate and making sure that he's fully healthy and ready to go for the first round of the playoffs.
So he won't dress, to be clear, he won't dress on Sunday.
That far, I'm not ready to go that far yet. There's a chance for both scenarios.
With the guys on the list,
Joe,
go ahead, Ben.
Is Joe Mixon eligible to come back before the 5-day window?
That 5-day window would be Sunday, and sometimes it gets complicated with the travel as well. So we'll keep referencing the protocols on how that all works.
But is he able to test? Is he able to test out before the 5-day window?
Yes, all the vaccinated players are able to test out immediately, really.
So with the 5-day window, are all of them, does everyone automatically come off the COVID list after 5 days? So in other words, the guys who have been on the COVID list this past 2 days, they'll all be back at the latest by Monday.
I think the answer to that is if they still have symptoms, they would not. A lot of our players have not had symptoms, and so then they come off that 5-day list. So, again, it's the protocols have evolved over the course of the season. My understanding is if they continue to have symptoms, then they would stay on that list.
Hey, Zach, can you talk a little bit about how the rest of this team has kind of adopted Joe Burrow's personality, and of all the good things that he does for this team, where does that rank?
Well, I think, quarterback is one of the most difficult positions to play in all of sports. And you got to be a different type of person and leader and worker to be able to hold one of those quarterback spots. And so, all eyes turn to him, fans, players, coaches. And so for him to lead by example the way that he does with his approach in the meeting rooms, the questions he asks of the coaches, the directive he gives to some other players on how he wants some things done. And then when he goes out to practice, whether you guys have seen the full scope of what he does or not, but when he steps on that field, there's not a wasted second out there. And he's got his process that he goes in. It's always enjoyable for me to see on Sunday morning, well before people get in the stadium or see him on the field, just the process he goes through on his own, in our little turf field that we have by the weight room, where he's not around anyone, no one's really watching, but every single Sunday I've been in there since I've been here, I see a process that starts very early in the morning, and he's very consistent with it. And so again, he's not a guy who's just about the attention and does things in the limelight so that everybody sees it and writes about it. He does it behind closed doors when no one's watching, when very few see it, and he's consistent with that approach every single day of the season. And I think the other players see that, and so they see that standard that's been set by a key position and a leader on the team, and a guy who plays at a very high level consistently on the field, and they want to follow in those footsteps. And so again, it's just a really good example to set for this team and a lot of the young players for how Joe goes about his business. Did I get all that, Paul? I know there was kind of a second part of that.
No, you're good. Thank you.
Okay. Zach, do you have an update on where Xavier Su'a-Filo is at in terms of his progress, and if you expect him to be available for you in the postseason?
He would certainly be available. He's making really good progress. Now he's practicing as of last week, and so he's in that second week of a 21-day window. And so we'll just keep moving forward with that. But X does a great job. X has been a tremendous mentor for a lot of our rookie linemen and younger linemen. He's a guy who just loves being a part of this team and coming to work every single day, and cannot say enough positive things about Xavier Suafilo, just the example that he set and the work ethic that he provides.
Along those same lines, Zach, is there any hope for Riley Reef?
No, not this year. No.
You have a starting left guard for Sunday?
Jackson Carmen.
Zach, how much did you look at the various playoff possibilities, where you guys could play, who you'd end up playing, what the other teams, who they're playing, where they're going to end up, and how much does that factor into what you're going to do Sunday and looking ahead?
You know, we're still going. We're trying to win this game. We need to beat Cleveland, and the guys that are going to take the field. That's what we expect. You know, from their performance and from our performance as a coaching staff. And you know, it's really, we just go play this game. We try to win the game, and then you see where it sorts out from there. There's a lot of different scenarios. I think it's a waste of time for us to spend our time wondering what that could be. The people who probably care the most are the guys that break down the tape, because it's a lot of tape to break down, and there's usually 4 possibilities, and that's usually the nightmare scenario for some of those guys that have to break down the tape. So they're the only guys that really spend much time paying attention to it. The rest of us just move on and get ready for Cleveland, and then we'll see Sunday night what the scenario is for us.
Zach, just to give you a specific example, I know Jamar Chase is 12 yards away from breaking Chad Johnson's Bengals receiving yardage record. Do you take that into account at all when you make some of these decisions about who plays and who sits this week?
It's really just about what gives us the best opportunity to win this game. It's Cleveland. And so again, some guys may be inactive, some guys will be up and playing. Everyone who walks on that field, we expect their best and just to help us win this game.
Zach, what does it say?
Pretty lucky with
Go ahead, Ben, and then I'll get to you, Mitch.
What does it say about Jamar that, you know, he shatters that record, has a couple rookie records, and has a crack at a record set by one of the best receivers in franchise history?
It's really impressive, you know, and it just shows the consistency that he's had since he walked in the door here. It's easy for young guys to come in and explode onto the scene early and then fade as the season goes. As it gets hard and it gets taxing on your body and it gets taxing on, you know, mentally, it can be exhausting for a lot of guys. And he's just maintained his standard throughout. He's been consistent with his process. Again, can't say enough good things about him. Can't say enough good things about Troy Walters also, you know, and I know you guys heard me say it before, but you know, you guys ask a lot about T. Higgins and Jamar and TB, and there is a common thread there, you know, from Troy Walters and Brad Craigthorpe that they help maintain that standard for those guys. And you know, they keep being critical of them, constructive criticism, making sure that they're playing at their best on Sundays. Go ahead, Mitch.
Zach, you've been pretty lucky this year with COVID. How disappointing was it this week to see all those guys go on the list? But at the same time, it's a game where I guess you could afford to lose them or miss them.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever a good situation, you know, but I think our guys have done the right thing. You know, if you're around people who've been positive or you have any symptoms, they've done a great job, you know, making sure that they're not hurting those around them. And so, you know, that's some of the examples of some guys, you know, in the last 2 days, never a good time for it to happen, you know, and obviously we want them to come out of this thing feeling really good. So those are the things we check on with those guys. And then, you know, just Mitch, we've got a lot of guys that have been a big part of this team over the course of the year. A lot of them on the practice squad. Some of them have been inactive and they've been in all the meetings. They've gotten a lot of reps, and we're counting on those guys to step up and take advantage of this opportunity and help us go win.
Zach,
hey, Zach, go ahead, Kels.
Oh, thanks, Kenny. What did you think of Logan Wilson's play and his return back for you guys this past weekend?
Yeah, I thought he moved around really well, and it was good to see him back out there. And that was a big game to have him back. You know, the style of game that was, his abilities and coverage and communication wise were critical. I thought he played physically. There was plenty of examples where he had to shed blocks, and I thought he looked really, really good doing it. So you could see that looked like he had a lot of confidence in his shoulder. It was probably good for him to check that box and get out there and play a physical game like that and play those amount of snaps. And you know, now we'll be smart with him this week with how we practice him and play him, and make sure that he's ready to go for the playoff game.
Zach, back to Jamar for a second. Are you surprised that he didn't hit the rookie wall, and why did he maybe not hit the rookie wall? Because it seems like it happens to almost all of them.
it's just different for everybody that comes in, and so you can't explain why some guys get affected by it, some don't. We certainly had a lot to play for. And so, every game felt like such a big game around that Thanksgiving break area. That's kind of where you feel it a little bit. And, I think he does a tremendous job physically staying in shape, and where that comes from, it's difficult for me to say. That's a credit to Joey Bose and those guys. It's also credit to him and the work that he does to stay physically in shape and be able to maintain the level of play that he's maintained.
Zach, how do you go about making sure your players keep mentally sharp going into a week like this between now and the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a regular season divisional game. You got a chance to go 5-1 in the division. We played good football on the road this year. We want to keep up that standard. We also lost to this team earlier in the year, and we haven't forgotten that. And so again, we want to finish the season on a good note, this regular season on a good note. So Mike, it's not hard. I think these guys have done a great job through one day so far of doing what we ask, and then we just got to take it to the practice field today and keep it up over the course of the week.
Zach, go ahead, Lap.
Like you said, a lot of these guys have been with you all year long. They're getting an opportunity to play against the Cleveland Browns. So mentally, they should be pretty much with everything. With that said, will it affect your game planning at all?
No, we want to make sure we're putting them in a good position to succeed with the things that they have confidence in. But we have not had a lot of turnover on our practice squad this year. These are guys that mostly played in the preseason with us, have been here all year, have been chomping at the bit for an opportunity like this. And so I'm really excited to see these guys hit the field. And it's really as deep of a roster as I've been around, just in that we've had some of these guys for years now, some of them over the course of the season. There's a reason for that. We believe in these guys that if we needed them, they'd be able to step up and make some plays for us. And so, some of them will get that opportunity on Sunday.
Zach, is Jamar going to play Sunday?
Potentially. We'll see as the week goes.
That actually aligns, because I was going to ask you about Jamar. Given his production, what he's done in the run game and the impact he's had, do you think he's a clear-cut offensive rookie of the year?
I think he's certainly earned it. At the same time, I don't follow the performances from everybody else. But all I can say is I'm really glad that he plays receiver for us. I'm glad he's on our team. What he's done as a rookie has been tremendous. If he got that award, that would be one of the least surprising things I've ever seen in my life, because he's earned it. I'm really glad that you pointed out his effort in the run game, because he's not afraid to come in that box and dig people out and chase guys down the field and help his teammates. And to me, that speaks more about Jamar than the 3 touchdowns he had in the game receiving. It's more just what he's done for his teammates and for this offense, for this team, and giving us that energy and the willingness to get down and dirty. And, that part has been what's made me the most proud of his performance this year. And not surprising at all to see how he goes about his business and see the success that he's had.
Coach, when you look at this game, for a lot of guys getting this opportunity, how valuable is it for you as you start to look at next year to see the depth at a lot of these positions and say, hey, I saw what these guys did against Cleveland. It's going to help me make a better decision about what to do, who to keep, maybe who to look for?
Well, anytime a guy gets a chance to play at the end of the year, we always circle back to that. But right now we're very much in the present, and it's not, this isn't the preseason and you're trying to see how guys do for final cuts. We're trying to put our guys in position to go win a divisional game on the road and help those guys gain some experience for these next couple of weeks, because we're going to need some of them there too. And so that is fully our focus right now. And again, we'll handle the end of the season evaluation stuff at the end of the season.
Thank you.
What was the takeaway from the first Cleveland game this season?
We can't turn the ball over. They had those 2 explosive plays from their offense, and where we could have tackled better and we could have communicated better on the 2 plays. And then offensively, really the turnovers put us in a hole, because I think that's what's frustrating when you go back and watch the tape and you see some pretty good movement from the football. From some of our drives early in the game, and then the turnovers put us in a hole, and then they hit the 2 explosive plays, and then next thing you know, you're down pretty good. And versus a team like that can run the ball against you and plays really sound defensive football, it just became hard for us to get back in it.
Joe made mention, Coach, of during the course of the week, he can get all the throws in that he needs to get in to stay sharp? I mean, will you have, I know you compete in the 2-minute drill and all those sort of things. Well, do you think that'll suffice to keep Joe razor sharp for the playoffs?
You know, Joe, I think Joe gets a lot of really quality work outside of the team reps. You know, he gets a lot of it in routes on air. He gets a lot of it in individual. He does a lot of it in the group install where it's just kind of the shell without the offensive lineman throwing the routes. You guys have probably seen us do that in the red zone on Fridays. That's where a lot of the timing comes from. Now you got no defense over there, so there's nobody to disrupt the timing. He does a great job kind of moving in the pocket and creating some of those situations. And then really the icing on the cake is the teamwork that we get against the scout team. So whether he takes a lot of team reps this week against the scouts, he gets a lot of really quality work, as much as good as anybody I've ever been around on the stuff where there's not a defense lined up across from you. So I got a lot of confidence that he'll remain sharp over the course of this week and keep getting the work in that's necessary.
Last question.
Teams obviously strive to get the bye if they can, Zach, but being in the position that you're in, can you get some of the same benefits or many of the same benefits by resting Joe or possibly resting other guys that are banged up?
In some ways, yes. You know, our key objective is still to go win this football game with everybody that walks on that field. But the guys ultimately that we make inactive, there will be some opportunity for them to make sure that they're fully healthy going into the playoff run. But again, nothing would make us happier than going on the road, playing a great football team that's Cleveland and winning this game and finishing the season with whatever record that, 11-6 and having a lot of great momentum going into the playoffs. That would be the ideal way to end this week.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
Coach.
Thanks, Zach.